Hello and welcome to the third rail, the place of the odd and unusual and sometimes the unexplainable.
It was just amazing. And I looked at that site and I thought to myself, what could this be?
The last thing Sipporet Carmel thought was that her home's backyard had been the site of a UFO visitation. It was not until 4 other women came forward, women who did not know each other and had not heard each other's stories, that Sipporet realized that she was part of Israel's greatest modern-day UFO encounter.
These are not women who have any ulterior motive whatsoever. They have nothing to gain by it.
It was a Saturday morning. I woke up very early. I looked at the alarm clock and it was 6:30 in the morning.
I was asleep and woke up very early Saturday morning. I heard a loud bang. I was afraid to go downstairs and check it out. I preferred to wait until daylight.
It was 3 o'clock Saturday morning. I woke up with the noise of my dog barking. I went to the door near the window. Inside the house it was dark, but outside it was light. I opened the curtains and I saw a big giant image staring at me.
His face was more oval-shaped. His eyes were shiny like a stoplight, glittering. His nose was very small like a dot.
I tried to get to him. Instinctively, I raised my hand to push him away, but it was like pushing against a wall.
And all around, there were as if flickering lights.
He didn't say anything to me, but I heard a voice in my head. It was like telepathy. And the voice said, "Go away. I could smash you like a little dog. Go back to your husband."
And I got, so to speak, an answer in my head in English that this is the way it should be.
Before I could move, he disappeared.
We have 5 women who don't know each other describing the same bald-headed giants. They could have described little ones, green ones, red ones, humanoid ones. They had infinite possibilities of descriptions. They all describe the same 7-foot, bald, round-headed creature.
And all 5 women found crop circles outside their homes within a few days of their experiences.
More than 59 crop circles of UFO landings were made between March and June 1993. Why? I don't know.
Around the circles was plenty of weed. I went there in the rainy season still, and there was plenty of vegetation. But in the circles themselves, there wasn't. There was just scraggly brown weeds.
The grass became, within a day, completely dry. It was before high as this grass all around, became completely dry, and eventually, after 2 or 3 days, lay down just like the way it's here.
And researchers discovered strange materials clinging to the dried crops.
There were strange red stains all over and little pieces of unknown material that now we know it was a silicon. This is it. It's very light, it's very thin, and it's bright and glowing. We sent it to the National Geological Lab, to Dr. Henry Foner, who tested this. According to Dr. Foner's testimony, this specific material we are talking about here is a pure 99.8% pure silicon. It does not exist naturally on Earth.
When details of
One. The difference between this aircraft or this disc and other discs that they had looked at was that it was much simpler design. In the simulator, it was one big thing different. The thing that, like Lazar calls the reactor. Okay, we didn't have a reactor. We had a space in a thing that looked like the reactor, but that wasn't the thing we operated the simulator with. We operated with 6 large capacitors that were charged with 1 million volts each. Say there were 6 million volts in those capacitors. They're largest capacitors ever built. These particular capacitors, they last for 30 minutes, so you could get in there and actually work the controls and do what you had to to get the aircraft or get the simulator, the disc to operate. Okay. So it wasn't that simple because we only had 30 minutes. Okay, and the reason why it was designed like that photo I showed you was actually when it was operable, it would lift off the ball about a certain amount there was a dimension there that we had that it actually lifted up, and it could actually turn, you know, a certain amount of degrees left to right or whatever. But in a simulator now, you'll notice that there are no seat belts, right? And the same thing with the actual craft, no seat belts. You don't need seat belts because when you fly one of these things upside down, there's no upside down like in a regular aircraft. You have your own gravitational field right inside. So if you're flying upside down, to you, you're right side up.
What is that? Kerry, what is that?
I have no idea. Don't move me. Don't move me.
Ladies and gentlemen, compliance with the European emergency requirements for hand carry liquids. Bear in mind our attracting customers and the following rules apply. Customers traveling from outside the European Union and a non-European airline.
The camera plane and 3 others were scrambled to intercept an unknown craft flying at very high speed, which is visible here as a large cylindrical-shaped object. And as the Russian planes close in, the UFO suddenly picks up speed and disappears. Here it is once again. You'll notice the cylinder seems to be traveling at about the same speed as the Nates until about here. And then it seems to increase its speed, which, according to pilots, must have reached at least Mach 3 in about 10 seconds.
A lot of this footage was declassified after the Soviet military failed to identify the object seen here. This one shows an interception attempt by MiG pilots. There were many cylindrical object interceptions that were reported and investigated. We were interested in the high-speed potential of this object. The size of this one is estimated to be about twice the size of a MiG-21. With technology available to us and the Americans, it should not be able to move as fast as it does.
Hey, this footage is still interesting because I don't think the Russians had any idea what they were dealing with here. Their fighters were at least as good as ours, and yet here is something that is completely beyond their capability to intercept. The acceleration rate of this thing is impossible for any aircraft that we know of.
17th, 2015. A group of UFO researchers with backgrounds in science have come together to analyze an alleged UFO video they have confirmed comes from the Department of Homeland Security. The object in the video was captured by a thermal imaging camera on a DHS aircraft, and according to the researchers, it exhibits characteristics that cannot be explained by any known aircraft or natural phenomenon.
Thanks for watching The Third Rail. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps a small channel like mine. See you soon.